Is it true that "Love Will Never Do Without You" by Miss Janet Jackson that was originally a duet with Prince? That's like an internet rumor, and Prince didn't show up, and Janet sang both parts. Is there any truth to that?
There is some truth to that, although it was never the intention of the song was, yes, there was going to be a low part and a high part, and that we had talked about Prince maybe doing the low part of the song, the opening verse of the song. It was nothing that really got talked about or negotiated, or even I don't even know whether Prince was even aware that that was what we were thinking as we were doing it. So, so when I say there's some truth to it, yeah, there is some truth to it, but um, nothing ever obviously happened with it.
All right. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So there's a song that you did with the late great George Michael on the Faith album, and I haven't heard y'all talk about this song too much. But it was a song called "Monkey." It hit number one. It was about him dealing with somebody who had a drug addiction. Like, why can't you set your monkey free? Really, really great song. That was the only song y'all did on the Faith album. Of course, I love George Michael, but what was that experience like? Because I haven't heard much background on that song. Either one of y'all could take that.
Well, the experience of working with him was really great. And one of the things that I always like people that are kind of informed on what they want to do. He was always very informed. He really knew what he wanted to do. And specifically what he liked was on the Janet albums, the Control album, we did remixes, and the remixes we called the cool summer remixes, right? And on those remixes, what we did, we took a song like Nasty, which really didn't have any chords in it. It was all just kind of noises and beats. But we put these smooth chords on it. And what he liked specifically, he said, I have this song called Monkey. And he said, I wanted to do it like the way you guys did that cool summer mix, where I wanted to put chords on it. But every time I tried to put chords on it, it lost the funkiness. Somehow you guys were able to keep the song funky, but put chords on it. And we were like, okay, we get what you're saying. So we basically took the track to Monkey, we redid it and put chords on it and did all this stuff, right? And then we sent it to him. And when he heard it, he said, he said, this is perfect. This is exactly, but now that you did all this, I want to re-sing it because now it's, because he'd already finished it, in the way he was going to do it. So then he came back and re-sang it. And what was, kind of pivotal to me in my life was he decided he wanted to work in Los Angeles. And at the time we were all doing everything from Minneapolis, but he wanted to work in LA. So we came to LA, we went to the studio, and he would only be in the studio for a little time because he could nail what he needed to nail and then he would leave. And one night he didn't show up at all. And as people like, record producers as ourselves would do, we invited a couple girls to the studio and to hang out. And one of the girls I've been married to for 25, 26 years now. So, and it
Wow.
happened because of George Michael, because she came to the studio, my wife, Lisa. That's how we met.
That.
So, you know, so George played an important part in my personal life, but also, but yeah, the song was amazing. He was amazing to work with, and we always wanted to work again with him. And sorry
Yeah.
that we never got a chance to.
Yeah. Okay. Also, the song "Got Till It's Gone," one of my favorite songs. Why wasn't that released as a commercial single in the US? The video was beautiful. The song is great. Q-Tip, Joni Mitchell, and it wasn't released as a commercial single. I never understood that.
So the idea with that song was, first of all, I have to thank Joni Mitchell for even approving that. She never really approved samples of anything that she did. But growing up, I remember roller skating. That was like one of my favorite roller skating songs. Big Yellow Taxi was one of my favorite roller skating songs. And I always liked taking songs that, we loved as kids, or not kids, but younger folks, I guess you could say, and making them into new songs. So God Till It's Gone was kind of the idea. But I remember Janet said, we should call Joni and make sure that it's okay with her. And I remember she didn't hear the song, but she just said she loved Janet. And she just was like, okay, well, I love Janet and I love you guys. So have fun. We're like, okay, cool. So we did the record. And, but what happened, which was interesting with Janet, is Janet was always an artist who really, back in the day when they called it crossover, right? So if you were a black artist and you had to cross over to the pop charts, Janet was very adept at doing that. Like she was very aware of the audiences. We were all aware that she had really two audiences. And "Got Till It's Gone" was really interesting because "Got Till It's Gone" was a record that I don't know whether it was. I didn't know that it got commercially released, but I do know when the record came out, it was the first time, at least through the three Janet albums we've done, because this was on the fourth Janet album that we worked on, Velvet Rope. This was the first time that radio, black radio, it was number one
Oh yeah,
for weeks. Huge.
yeah.
Pop radio said, "We'll wait till the next one."
Mm.
And it was always interesting to me that I think the video, which is, yeah, it's a beautiful video, but I think if the video for the song would have been a shiny Janet video, I
Mm.
think the song probably would have got played on pop radio. But because it was, I guess challenging, I guess I would say, for pop audiences to get into, because she wasn't pretty, wasn't the pretty Janet with dancing and all that. It was a different thing. I don't think it really worked for that audience. And interestingly enough, the second single, which was "Together Again,"
Yep.
number one pop record, because it was kind of the Janet that people wanted to see. And I finally, on the third single, which I think was "I Get Lonely," I think was the third single, we finally had that single that on both sides was, like number one. So it was interesting though, but it was just the timing of it. I think that the audience, the pop audience, or at least the radio programmers for their pop audience, never was into it. But Joni loved the song, and then that
Oh,
made us feel really good.
I love the song. Mr. Lewis, let me ask you this. I interviewed Clive Davis a couple months ago, and he spoke about the kind of space that artists get into sometimes, black artists, like kind of what Mr. Harris is saying, that you got to be pop or you got to be crossover. You don't want to be too R&B. And when y'all are coming up in the beginning, black artists aren't being played that much on MTV. Radio is very segregated. But I was wondering, as producers, did y'all feel that pressure? Oh, you can't make them sound too urban. You can't make them sound too this. As producers, was that on y'all at all, or were you not even thinking about that?
I don't think we ever thought about that. Just remember where we come from. We come from Minneapolis. And in Minneapolis, our radio experience was sun up to sundown every day. So there was very little black music. It wasn't on all the time. We had to stretch to get it. And our influences are everything as musicians, uh, everything pop. We played polkas. We did all kinds of things by design, um, to please the audience at hand. So, you play a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, you play a ski resort, you had to be able to go into some country, you had to do a little bit of everything. So we're pretty well versed in all the different musical genres, and we never adhered to any. We played rock, we played everything that you could possibly do, and that all comes through us when we produce music. We're not afraid to go from genre to genre. So I don't think we ever felt any flack or any apprehension about producing R&B, because our R&B is a little different than most people's R&B. I
Yeah.
think because it's all based on what we grew up, the environment we grew in.
And what's sad to me is there was even this time where folks were saying Whitney Houston is too white. She's getting booed at Soul Train, and Prince got a little bit of that as well. That when you cross over, you're then suddenly too white. And how does Whitney not have soul, or how does Prince not have any of that? And I know, of course, if y'all started with Prince, but that was
Well,
just go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, but how everybody has soul. Like I don't care who you are, everybody has
Right.
something. Now, how can you get it out is the question. Um, Soul is just who you are, what you feel. It's your expression, and how you express it. It's not an innate thing just in black people.
Yeah.
Everybody has soul,
Hmm.
but it's for whatever they are. It's like you can't. It's all There's three different kinds of songs. Most people say two. There's good songs and bad songs, and our thing is there's hit songs. Those are three songs that you can say. Now, good songs and bad songs, those are choices that you make based on your taste.
Hmm.
Hit songs are based on the facts and the data that comes about from those facts. So, I think we think too much of ourselves when we think that only one music works. Music is music, and it's there for all of us to do and appreciate. So, um, I think it's very unfair to say Whitney was to this or to that.
Yeah.
Whitney, and she was great. That's what we
Mm.
should be celebrating.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I'd add to that also is that um, we always, as producers, our thing was always to make the artist happy. If the artist came in with the intention of wanting to do something to be, I want to be on the pop charts, or I want to be, or whatever that is, then if we want to work with them, then our whole goal is let's make the artist happy, because the artist is the one that has to live with that song and live with those moments for the rest of their lives. For us, at that point in time, we do the song and we move on to the next thing. But that they have to tour behind it, and they have to make videos, and they have to do all of those things. So for us, it was always about give the artist what it is that they want, and and if they wanted to cross over, that's what they wanted to do. And then we were fortunate to work with somebody like Janet, where we got a chance to do whole albums of songs. So we didn't have to be like the hired gun to come in and go make a hit record. It was like, no, just make an album of songs, and we'll see what comes up. And it could be anything from "Got Till It's Gone," which is very hip hop influenced, but with a Joni Mitchell sample. But it could be something like Black Cat, which was rock, straight
Rock,
rock,
straight up rock.
or,
Mhm.
right? Or it could be something, it could be the Happy, the Escapades, and the Love Will Never Do Without You, and it could be that, and everything in between. And that was the great thing about working with someone like that, whose musical palette was also so big, is that that's always a lot of fun to do. But we try to do that with all the artists. It was really trying to make something that custom fit them, whatever they wanted to do, and try to help them realize that.